What's up, guys? We're back with another episode of the Holy Huddle. It is June 16th. We've been away for a little bit. Got a lot going on, but we're glad to be back. It's NBA Finals week, Game 6. Game 6, Clay will probably be out and about. I'm a big Klay Thompson fan, but I do have Boston winning tonight. Some other things that we'll talk about. We'll talk about the series. And whether or not Golden State will finish it or if it'll go to a game 7. Also talk about taking it to a Christian perspective of Deshaun Watson and wasn't his actions, were they Christian? We know, I'm not sure if you guys know, but from what I know, from college to NFL career, Deshaun Watson has talked about his Christian faith. Chris said he even read one of his books that's about his faith and his upbringing. So we want to kind of talk about that and how that goes into his cases and different things like that. Now that 24 women have accused him of sexual assault or misconduct. So we want to dive into that. Also, big ups to Khari Willis. I think I said that right? He is leaving the NFL after 3 years, I think, or 2 years, to go pursue ministry. So we can pray and hope that he has a beautiful ministry and is able to bless people and make disciples. We also want to talk about an issue that hasn't been talked a lot about, at least in the sports media, is the Dallas Mavericks. They had a game in the playoffs a couple weeks back, and there was a kid was abducted and then put into sex trafficking. They found a young girl, 15 years old, 10 days later. About 5 different suspects that all were involved in that. And so I think, as we talk about sports and faith, that's huge. And I think that it needs to be talked about more in this country as sex trafficking and things like that. We talk about a lot of other things. So we'll get into that. And then we'll go into our quiet times that me and Chris had this week. So without further ado, how you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, man. Staying busy, having fun, enjoying coaching, loving every minute of it. Losing my voice. My voice is pretty much gone after these past 3 weeks, but I'm having fun.
Yeah. So for you guys that don't know, Chris is a athletic sports trainer. He was the coach of the year for Precy Speed School. And so now that all the school things are out of the way, it's summertime, college athletes are getting in their workout mode, getting in, their best shape. So
it's my season.
Yeah. So this is the time to be able to be fruitful and kind of multiply his business. So be praying for him in this season. So Chris, who do you got tonight for Game 6?
I think it's done tonight.
You think it's done tonight?
I think it's over.
Okay. What makes you say that?
I mean, I think Steph's mad he didn't get a 3-pointer last time, and they won without him getting a 3-pointer. So I don't know. I had Boston in the very beginning, but I think the nail's in the coffin. Okay, but we'll see. I'm wrong a lot. You can check my FanDuel account. I'm wrong a lot.
We'll have to see how that plays out. I believe Jason Tatum has not had a game yet that has been to, I think, the standard of his play and as he's becoming a new star. So I'm interested to see how he plays tonight. I think he plays his best game of the series and brings that series to Game 7. And then I think Boston as a team does the Cinderella story as they've done the whole year. They get the dub. So we'll see what happens. Also, I think that I think a big thing that'll play a part is if they can beat Golden State tonight, it's going to put some doubt into Golden State because I think Golden State wants to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, if Golden State won tonight, I wouldn't be surprised. Have you watched any of the games?
Not really. They don't start till 9:00 at night, and that's a little past my bedtime.
We need the petition to stop that, man. At least, 7:00 prime time. That's when 9:00 at night is like. I'm not doing anything. I'm off.
Yeah.
So I'm off. I think you might have to turn your mic down because I can hear your mic as you move it around.
That better?
Move it around a little bit. It was a little bit moving. I guess if you just probably set it in one spot.
I didn't know if it would pick me up from over here. There we go. Still hear me?
Yeah, it's perfect.
There you go. I'll just leave it alone then.
Yeah. But yeah, I've watched some of the games. I don't know, man. This series I thought it would be intriguing, but it's kind of hard to watch too. Yeah, I watched the fourth quarters to see what's going on. I watched game one, watched a couple of other games, but haven't watched them from tip to tip. But I have been paying decent attention to it. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, Boston in 7, and if you guys watched the show, I had the Nets in 4 at the beginning. So my pick.
Do not use your FanDuel account for our predictions. It's a terrible idea. We are not held responsible for that.
Yeah. So now into some news, and the Boston Celtics and Golden State are about to play. So I'm sure you guys will watch that, and by the time you hear us, if you get on the podcast, you already know who won. But now there's some stuff. Since we haven't got a chance, we've been wanting to talk about this for a while. Deshaun Watson. Now, when he first got paid and got to the Browns on here, I was happy for him. Didn't really want to get into the legal thing because didn't know what was true, what was not. But now some more details have coming out. And in my eyes, I still, like Deshaun Watson as a football player. Don't know him as a man, would love him on the show. But on my eyes, there seems to be some guilt here. I'm not saying he's completely guilty, but there seems to be something going on, and I'll explain that in further detail. But some of the latest news that came out was that he had over 66 massage therapists. I mean, that as an athlete, I know you're a personal trainer. I was a personal trainer, and we worked closely with some massage therapists. Was an athlete before. I've gotten a massage. I wasn't on the high level to have a massage offered or readily available, but as professional athletes, and with Chris and I working with athletes, there's a lot of things, massage therapy. Like LeBron James, he spends $1 million in his body. He's got a nutritionist. He's got probably a couple massage people in different locations when he's in certain areas. He's probably got a designer for his fashion person, it's somebody that does his social media and all these different things. But I don't think, and I've heard it too on ESPN and some of the other guys, like 66 massage therapists. That doesn't make sense, and that doesn't add up. And but from a Christian perspective, and I'll let you go after this, Chris, and then I'll follow up. Some of the things that came out is that he said that he had sex with at least 3 of these, women that have complained. So we know that's unbiblical. And then, my kind of thought is that if you had a few happy endings, who knows? You're going out on Instagram, as a professional. There again, if I'm going out with a professional athlete, I'm gonna go and try to get a top-notch masseuse that I can trust and that figures out my body, figures out what I need, so that we can regularly work together. With a nutritionist, the same thing. I'm not gonna have some new hot nutritionist coming in every day. Hey, you want to cook for me tonight? You want to cook for me tonight? And then, so I don't know if it was all, he didn't rape anybody, but I don't know if it was a thing where he got a couple happy endings and then it's kind of like he's trying to do endo, like, oh, well, let's see if I can get a rub down and then I'll just, hey, I can work in this area and kind of play the game. So
yeah,
what's your thoughts on Deshaun Watson?
I mean, as being part of that process of, there's a dietitian, there's a strength coach, there's a massage therapist, there's a physical therapist, there's an athletic trainer. And when you're a part of that circle, like the goal is to make the athlete the best that they can be. So if he was looking for massage to better his performance or better, take care of his body, man, like that's the circle, and like that's where you would go. You would have that kind of relationship with those people. You wouldn't be seeking out 66 or more women on Instagram. Like your intentions are different when you leave that kind of circle. Like, so if it's an athlete I have and they ask me for a massage therapist, if there's one I don't know, they're traveling, then I'll ask another massage therapist if they know a massage therapist in that area. So like it works that way instead of Instagram. That's very, very shady and very sketchy. So I feel like once you go that route, like your intent, you have the wrong intentions. So whatever he was doing, I don't know. It stays because I did love watching him on the field. I mean, he played for Dabo, who we know is a very big Christian athlete. Or a very big Christian coach. Some of his recruits literally go there just because he has a good Christian culture. But also like, I forgot what I was to say now. Also like, so what I would say is kind of maybe after the first couple that he got away with it, that's when it kind of becomes like, maybe this is the wrong word to use, but kind of like an addiction. Like, oh, I got it once, I got it twice, I got it 3 times. And then it just starts kind of piling up. Like you kind of spiral into this loop where now you just think that this is a regular thing. So, when we hear 66, that's a big number. And I'm sure that's probably not all. But
that was just in a 15-month span.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure that like that's what I would say. It's like, I feel like we all kind of get into those things with different kind of stuff where we maybe if we do sin, like then it kind of can spiral out of control if you don't recognize it right away. Which is where like, I don't know if this was happening while he was in college in that Christian culture, but once he got to the Texans, it sounds like the Texans were involved in some way. And if that culture was not there, that Christian culture, and it kind of praised him for doing this or was okay with it and let it slide, then, once we're kind of like we always talk about, you got to be in the environment where other Christians are holding you accountable and around you. And if you're not in there, you can go down really fast. So that's what I said. That's kind of my perspective on it. Like, if his intentions were to have the best body and health and perform at his optimal ability on the football field, that's not the way you go about getting a massage and taking care of your body. I guarantee you that's not how LeBron James got his massage therapist or any other athlete gets their network of people who they trust with their body, their sole thing. Like their body is their livelihood, so they're trusting people with it. And then I guess, I think it's easy for us to look at Deshaun and say, oh, you're bad, but I feel like we can all get trapped in that rabbit hole sometimes of doing something wrong, being in the wrong culture, and then it just spirals down. For me, I'll be vulnerable for a second. It's cursing for me. If I get into an atmosphere where somebody pops one off or two, man, and then I let one go, and then next thing I know, man, almost every other word, I'm letting one go, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So that's not on the same level as, sin is sin, I guess. So I guess it is all on the same level. But I know that's something that just as an example of how that we all go through that, so we just don't have it put on ESPN.
Yeah. Yeah. My thoughts is, like you said, when you got 66 women, you're having the Texans, they got it to where they can get hotels for you so that you can get a massage, and then you got an NDA on the side so that disclosure agreement. All this for a massage. Then I'm sure the Texans in-house have someone that is a great massage therapist. I pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah.
And two, if we want to go the worldly route, if this is what he wanted to do, I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson could have about 5 or 10 different women give him massages and give him a happy ending at the end. All right, he can probably come to terms with them, and they would be fine with that. And there's all different type of means to go about this in a way, but to do this, seeking out, and then he tried to say, "Oh, I was trying to help out, small businesses."
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that.
But it's like, it's laughable. Like, really?
Yeah.
You're trying to help out small businesses. So what I want from Deshaun Watson, looking from afar, like I said, don't know if he's 100% guilty, but he's got some guilt, I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain that here in a second. What I want him to say is like you said, hey, I was trying to get a massage to kind of, see what I can get from it. But in that situation, I let the women know they was cool with it, blah, blah, blah. And
just be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want. Because he's getting up there like the other day, he said, I'm just trying to clear my name. I never did this, I never did that. But it looks bad.
Yeah, it's real bad.
It looks terrible. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't look good in any circumstance that you had 66 women, or that at minimum.
Yeah.
That's at minimum.
And it's been hard because I was infatuated with him when he was in college. I loved watching him. I saw his Christian background. He talked about it. I was like, yes, this is a dude I can get behind. Like, yes, I'll buy his jersey. Yeah, let's go. Man, so every time he talks, like, I want him to just be honest, and I want to believe him, and I want to support him as a Christian man, and I just can't.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing too. I like that's like I said, when he first got signed, I was kind of happy for him because like I said, we didn't know all the facts. But now it's like, it's tough. And from a Christian perspective, what I wanted to say is that we as men, we work with young adults. We got to understand, and people that listen to the show, whether you're married, whether you're not, you got to put yourself in positions that don't compromise your stance. You know what I mean? So if I'm got coworkers, and every time, if I have a coworker, me and her is always in a room separate together, or we're hanging out, we're doing this, and I'm at her house alone, and she's at my house alone, and I got multiple coworkers coming over, and then one of them say, "Oh, well, Lloyd's cheating on his wife." Well, I'm not putting myself in any circumstance to be able to dispute it. It could be a lie, but also could be 100% truth. Because why am I spending time with other women outside of my wife, alone with no supervision, out late night, blah blah blah? You know what I mean? She was giving me a massage. Well, that don't make any sense. And so, same thing as a Christian man. We don't know where he is in his walk, but he's, and hopefully moving forward, regardless of how this goes, I don't think he'll have to do any jail time because all these are a lot of civil cases. Probably have to spend a lot of that check that he's going to get. But
Brown said guaranteed money.
Forward, he gets some help, if these allegations are true. And then he also puts himself in positions to where he doesn't compromise himself because, we know that there's entrapment. There's the women that's, they try to just hook up with you just so, and I believe I was thinking this today, going into what we're talking about. It's in a woman's best interest. If she gave Deshaun Watson a massage and nothing happened, it's in her best interest right now to say something did happen. So she can get paid.
Yeah.
And it's vice versa. If she did get assaulted, it's in her best interest to come out now because she has some support. She has some backing because the first, woman that came out, nobody would believe that. But now that we understand that he's trying to get people to sign non-disclosure agreements, there's 80 women, over 60 women. Now it sounds more believable. So I just think, as Christian men, another big thing is sexual sin is big in our society. And it's one of the biggest. I was reading about that. Should pull up the verse here in a second, but I was reading about that. In the Bible is how sexual sin is one of the worst sins. God talks about because it's a sin against our own body. Right? So it's like you're like hurting yourself by doing sexual sin. And so we know that God placed sex for a man and a woman. And our culture is so lustful. I'm not going to lie, I've fallen into lust and temptation. I'm sure you have. That is a part of our society. There's a lot of men in our society that struggle with porn, that are cheating on their wives, that are lusting, that are looking at women, that are envying, um, all these different things. That's what our culture is, and it's as Christians, especially as men and women, we have to be able to help each other out. By some of the things that we wear, the things that we say, the things that we watch, because it is in our nature that we're sexually attracted to the other side. You know what I mean? So that's why it's important to make sure you have boundaries, you have guidelines, and especially as us, as you said, to keep someone accountable, to be in your word, to be praying, because that is one of the biggest things that can attack a young Christian man or a young Christian woman or old, you know what I mean? Because we when church pastor cheating on his wife, it goes all around, whether you're saved or not. So
yeah. I think it's important to also make it a topic that's okay to discuss, because too many people don't want to touch it or don't want to openly talk about it. Or like, oh, if it's porn or something, like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to say that I struggle with that. I don't want to talk about it. But it's got to be something that it's okay for someone to tell you, and to say, hey, I still love you anyways, and we're gonna pray for you and help you get through it. Because I think it's such that topic where nobody wants to touch, nobody wants to open the door, nobody wants to have the discussion or talk. When I think once you kind of are okay with it and are able to talk about it, then you really get healing from it. Because if not, if you try to just keep that door closed and keep it to yourself, it just gets worse. And it's like that spiral I talked about with Deshaun. Like, it just keeps going, doesn't stop.
Amen. And so I think that's perfectly true. That as Christians, we need to talk more about that, the sexual, the temptations, the different things that people are facing, things that people are going through, because that it is a big thing, and a lot of people are struggling with it, and a lot of people are hiding fetishes and hiding sexual things that they shouldn't be doing, such as possibly in this case. Because that's what it looks like, some type of fetish where I'm gonna just try to get as many girls as I can to rub me here and see if I can get happy ending. I had that verse. So we're praying for Deshaun. We're praying for the women that were involved in this case. Seriously, be praying in this situation, and hopefully everything comes to light and we get the truth. We know God knows the truth, so we pray that comes out, man, and pray that if it is true, he gets some help, and if it's not true, that these women, I don't know. I don't even want to speak any more on it. I think we hit the topic good, but if there's any more details, we'll come out with it. But there's the verse is 1 Corinthians 6:18. It says, "Flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Do you not know that your body are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You are bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your body." All right. So we're bought with Jesus' precious blood. So I think, a lot of young people don't understand that sin outside of marriage is sin. Same-sex marriage is sin. You know, that's what it is. And a lot of people don't understand that just casual sex, and all the others in between outside of marriage is not right. You can try to go around it and not, but that is what it is. And I think that's why our culture struggles with it so much, is because we're such a sexual culture that doesn't stand on that one principle that, hey, this is the guidelines, sex in the marriage in there. But once you open the field, oh, I like her and we don't really got to get married, so I can have sex with her. And then it just goes and where we're at, where we are today, which leads to another topic a sad topic, a topic that, like I was telling Chris before we got on here, that God's just been the word sex trafficking, especially the youth, has been coming up in my head a lot. Um, we know this is a big issue in our culture. It's not talked about a lot, but kind of bring this home, and it goes with our sexual issues in this society. Um, and I'll pull it up so you guys can see the story. Um, my bad. All right, here we go. So yeah, Texas girl 15 trafficked from Dallas Mavericks game, eight arrested in the in Oklahoma. So when I seen this, man, I was really,
Made me sick.
yeah, it made me sick, and I had seen some stuff on YouTube, and I kind of like scrolled by it and didn't really look into it, and then like I said, I got that voice in my ear again, like sexual, not sexual, but sexual trafficking. And then I remembered the story and looked it up and kind of looked into it. Young girls at the Dallas Mavericks game with her family, goes to the bathroom, gets taken out of the bathroom from these eight scumbags, and then they go off and they end up finding her in Oklahoma at a hotel where she's being sexually trafficked, raped, sodomy, the whole nine. And so, we have all these. It's sad because we have a lot of these issues that people are talking about. It's always on ESPN, always on the news. And this is not a topic that can't make the news and get voices from NBA players, get voices from NBA coaches that, hey, you guys come to our games. We're not going to, don't even think about coming to an NFL, NHL, NBA arena and thinking that you're going to try this. We want top flight security, all these different things. This has to end. This can't happen. You know what I mean? And it needs to stop in our communities as well because it's a big thing. I've read in Texas, over 50 kids that were missing were found in the sex trafficking ring. That was a story that was about a week ago. And so it's like, we got people marching the street about the right to have an abortion, and we can't march about this. What's your thoughts, man?
I mean, they talk about, so I watched a couple little videos about stuff that went on there and what was going on. And they talk about the average age of women that get trafficked is 15 years old. And those are girls you and I see every day. So all I saw was every female I work with, and train and coach and how youthful and how excited they are, and just how genuinely happy they are to be, alive and doing what they do. And then in that moment, 10 days, the girl was missing. Her life is forever altered. Like when she gets married, her and her husband are probably going to have, it might not be the same relationship just because, that's going to bring back memories for her. The mental scarring that it does, it takes that youthfulness away from the person. They're not as excited about stuff anymore. Now they have to deal with this 10-day trauma. And it just breaks my heart because this stuff can't happen, man. And Mark Cuban, you got more money than you know what to do with. You can have a security guard at every dang on door. Like, there's no to me that you're gonna miss stuff. Some security guards aren't paying attention. Could have been short staffed. Everybody's short staffed now. But I think there's got to be an answer, and kind of like back to like talking about Deshaun Watson. Like whatever comes out, I hope they just be honest, hold themselves accountable, and fix it. I hope Mark Cuban comes out and tries to help the family of these kids and help he has the resources to help the officers, the community be better, and he preaches that stuff. So Mark Cuban, you got to step up when it comes to that stuff. That's your organization. That's your building that happened in. And I mean, it's just, I guess it's just hard for me to put stuff in words because I just see, without naming names, I just see the girls that I saw today, the girls that I see tomorrow. And if I knew that they were gone for 10 days, I would need Jesus for probably what I was about to be ready to go do to these people. Like it's not I don't know. And I think, this was in Texas, but I think, we're close to DC, we're close to Baltimore. I guarantee you this stuff is happening in our backyard.
And that's what I seen in Kansas City. They say that's like, it is like an epidemic. They didn't say that, but it's going on where so many kids, they're being sexually trafficked, and then they're going back home that night. Like, and so, like you said, I'm a high school teacher, so I'm working with kids this age, and it's not just girls that are getting trafficked as well. But like the one issue in Texas, it was kids from 10 to 17. And so we don't need to get into the details. We know how sick that is, especially when you start talking about 10 and 12-year-old girls and boys. But I just, I want to do on this show, and hopefully I stay consistent. But I want to bring light and awareness to this topic because it is a sad topic, and like Chris said, the Dallas Mavericks and that organization, I'm not blaming them for the issue, but what I do think is that, and I don't know if they knew all the details, but I think there should have been a press conference. There should have been something said that, hey, we're sorry about this situation. We're doing everything that we can to find the assailants, and we're going to do our darndest to make sure this never happens again, to make sure this don't even happen, in our city. We're going to start an organization to fight this type of thing. And I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I didn't really see much from them or from him. And so, we know we can get a lot of, people doing the politically correct thing when certain things happen, and then something like this happens, and it can barely make the news, or it's just some sub thing that people look over. And I think that, that's what's wrong is we fight and we bicker about the wrong things and not put our onus on the violence that is going on, whether it's, homicides, and whether it's the sex trafficking and the drugs that are plaguing, a lot of our country, a lot of, the areas that we live in, and the kids that we see have to deal with these type of things. A parent's hooked on drugs, or a parent that's been sex trafficked, or is a sex worker. And so it's just sad, we kind of live in a decent community, but we know that some of that stuff happens here. But in a lot of cities, that is the norm, and so I just pray that, you guys that listen to this show, that you be praying for that, and that, maybe you'll be led to do something in your community. And I definitely want to start something here in mine, because once it's happening in one place, criminals, they're looking to get that thing going everywhere, to where it's a normal thing. And we already know how sick this world is moving. So just want to pray for that and shed light on that, because I don't think, that should have been a topic on ESPN First Take, or, Undisputed. What the hell happened, and why isn't everybody on, how can someone get taken out of the sports arena? Now, if somebody, calls a player the N-word at the game, that's going to be a leading topic. If a player goes up in the stands and him and the fan told Klay Thompson, F you, that's a topic. But a young woman is taken out of a stadium and sex trafficked, that is not a topic. I don't understand that. The world we live in, it doesn't fit the narrative, but that needs to be talked about. And I'm glad that we shed some light on it with our 2 followers that listen to the show.
We got 5.
Yeah, we got 5. On to some better news. we'll be wrapping up here shortly. But on to some good news. Indiana Colts starting safety. What's his name again, Chris? I don't want to mess it up.
Khari Willis.
Khari Willis. He retired today, or either today or yesterday. 26-year-old man retired from the NFL in the prime of his career. One more year before he got his big contract. Probably going to be making probably over $10 million a year, or somewhere around that area. Making set to make $2 million this year, which is pretty good money. I would say I'll probably never see $2 million. But he set that aside to go follow God's mission and his call on his life to go pursue ministry. And so here again, I think that's honorable. The same with, I would say this is more honorable, but the same with Pat Tillman or a person who's an athlete that goes to go serve their country. And I think this is even bigger, an athlete to go serve the kingdom of God. I think it's awesome, man. I pray that his ministry does well. I pray that he's able to make disciples, as the Bible says, and I pray that God blesses him to humble himself in that situation. And I don't say it's humbling, but in our society, that's humbling yourself before God. That's actually listening to God's will, because I'm sure he, if you're making you hit your peak in professional training, and one day Chris is training the Washington football team or training professional athletes, they're flying in, and you say, I'm giving that up to pursue a mission of ministry. The same with Derek Gaskill. It's like, okay, this person's serious. They're not, they're listening and they're taking heed to God, what God is saying.
Yeah.
A lot of people would run away from that. What's your thoughts?
So I'm a Colts fan, so definitely enjoyed watching him on the field. And I kind of went through, his Instagram. He just did a story of everybody who posted his thing of, that he was retiring, the same post he had. He just put it on his story. And the people that, Jonathan Taylor, DeForest Buckner, it was so many people that just retweeted his little thing and put it on their story, and their words about his leadership, how he inspired them. He's going to do very well in ministry, and he was already doing it in the locker room. And you can see that by what these players said in their Instagram stories about him, that they're going to miss his leadership and his ministry in the weight room or in the locker room, because now he's going to go out, and do it outside the locker room. And probably kind of back on our topic from before, I think that kind of frustrated me was the media, literally ESPN, all of it literally said, hey, he retires to pursue his faith. Who starts next? Who's going to replace him? Who just said oh, what are the Colts going to do? Man, can we take 5 minutes and talk about what a good thing this is? Even if, on ESPN, you don't want to talk about the religious side, said this is a man who's pursuing his purpose and what he's supposed to do that is bigger than football. So that was kind of a topic that I continuously saw. Every media outlet was, what's next? What's next? What's next? And I was like, get to 5 minutes. Just say, praise the man, talk about his career. Give him some respect, because all these players are talking about how good of a leader is, and you guys just want to talk about, oh, now the Colts can't do nothing because they don't have a safety. Hey, come on, man. Yeah. So that was kind of my thought on it. I did watch a very good documentary about when he was at Michigan State. I guess when he was a kid, the area he grew up in wasn't too good, and somebody got shot in his front yard and killed or something like that. And he was a way better basketball player than football player. So it was just a cool little documentary that they had that was done a while ago while he was in college. But it was a good insight to who he is as a person, kind of his story and that kind of stuff. And we can put the link. I think it's on YouTube. So we can find that and put it up there so you guys can click on it if you want to watch it. But it was a pretty cool thing to watch about his story and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I got one thing, man. I'm gonna have to ask you. We'll have to do it together. We should try to reach out, man. Maybe he'll come on the show and
I was going to.
okay, cool. Yeah,
I was going to.
that'd be awesome, man.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
I'll pull a Deshaun Watson and slide in his DMs.
Well, you know what? The one thing the last thing I'll say is like, we have a lot of athletes that say they want to make an impact.
Yeah.
And a lot are. There's a lot of unseen things that these guys do. The money that they're blessed with, and they go out and they go back to their towns, the communities. They're always helping with the cancer patients, going to hospitals, and doing all these different things. And a lot of it's their own will and things that they want to do. And that there again, that doesn't get publicized, but the negative things they do, we'll sit and talk about that for hours about how bad of a person this guy is because he said that and because of this and because he's no longer dating this person.
Yeah.
But we won't talk about that. The same thing as you were saying, like, let's talk about this guy. Let's give him the flowers for what he's done. But
yeah,
like I was saying, the impact that he's going to be able to make in communities and young boys and girls' lives by spreading the message and him being a professional athlete, I think the Kingdom guys had a great worker today. Well, he's been working, but I just pray that he does the right things and stays on fire for the Lord.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully, we'll have him on the show one day.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna send him something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta move. My thing's gonna die, so just.
It's all good. So real quickly, and we've been on here for 42 minutes. Been a great show. Feel like we got a lot of good content in. Do want to. We won't even go through the whole thing because I know Chris has had a long day. But just want to leave you with a verse. I'll leave you with a verse, and Chris will leave you with a verse, something to kind of ponder on. And next time we get back on here, maybe that's something you guys can meditate on. There's a verse, and I think this goes with the issue I was talking about putting ourselves in good situations and not putting ourselves in situations that can hinder our walk, hinder our relationships, hinder what we're trying to build, such as the case of Deshaun Watson. Now, because of some of the actions he chose, whether guilty or not, his image, his if he's still a Christian, his faith and his light is dim now because who wants to hear from him? Now there's always redemption, but that definitely is going to tamper his light. But it says this is a verse out of James 3. I was reading this the other day, but it says wisdom from above. This is James 3, verse 13. It says, who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy or selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false to the truth. This is not the wisdom that comes down from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder in every vile practice. But the wisdom from above is first pure and peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. And so I think that's a great verse. We always give verses, but that's telling you right there what you need to be. What's heavenly wisdom is to be not selfish, but to be, pure and peaceable and gentle, opening to reasons. A lot of people don't want to hear any truth or want to hear anything outside of their opinion. Full of mercy. A lot of us can't forgive, can't let things go, whether big or small. And they provide good fruit, just as we talked about the safety from the Colts. People seeing his fruit, people seeing his impact. He was sincere. A harvest of righteousness is sown, and so as we know, if once good things are sown, there's going to be a good, fruitful um, return. So um, that was my verse, and so I pray that you guys can read that, and also that whole verse is good about our tongues, about how our mouths can set our little tongue can set a wildfire. It's like a spark.
Mhm.
So check that verse out, meditate on that. Chris, I know you had something as well.
Yeah, I took my microphone out, so can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, big
Cool,
dog.
cool. All right, so mine is John 6, verse 26. It says, Jesus answered the people. It says, "Very truly, I tell you, you are looking for me, not because you saw the signs I performed, but because you are." There, let me start again. Jesus answered the people, "Very truly, I tell you, you are looking for me, not because you saw the signs I performed, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Do not work for that food that spoils, but for the food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For on him God the Father has placed his seal of approval." And I was reading kind of that whole chapter, and it's where Jesus feeds the 5,000. And after he does, he leaves. That's when he walks on water. And then he's in, I think it's Capernaum, is how you say it. But the people from that he fed come and find him, and they're basically seeking more food or what he can do. And instead of seeking him for him. And that kind of hit me a little bit, what are you seeking Jesus to get close to him or for who he is and what he did, or are you seeking him for whatever the next thing he's going to do is? And how many times does Jesus do something in your life and then you're quickly on to, hey, what's next, big man? What's going on next? Instead of being grateful or thankful for the little things and the things that he has done. So that made me take a step back and learn a lesson from these people that, while I was reading it, I was like, man, I can't believe these people. He just fed them, gave them
Selfish.
leftovers. Yeah. And now they immediately the next day went back and said with their hands out again. But then I had to like self-check myself and say, how many times does Jesus do something for me that I'm not expecting? Or that, and then I look up and say, well, instead I wanted you to do what I wanted, or I wanted you, or what's next. So that's kind of, that whole chapter was stuff I was reading. That's just one verse where Jesus answered the people because they were saying, hey, Jesus, can we get some more food, pretty much. And not verbatim, but pretty much what they were saying. Um, and the verse goes on to continue, like the people just continued to get disgruntled with Jesus because he wouldn't basically perform another miracle for him. And then at the end of it, the people leave, and then he turns to the disciples and he says, "Are you going to leave me too?" Um, and where is it? I think it's Peter. Peter says, "Where am I supposed to go? Like, you the one. I'm staying here." So it says, asked him if he wanted to leave to him. Peter said, Lord, to whom shall we go? So he's like, I got nowhere else to go. I'm good. So at the end of the chapter, I was kind of having the mindset of, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm staying. No matter if you do the miracle or you don't, or whatever you tell me to do. If that all makes sense, I know I kind of rambled a little bit.
No, it was clear, man. It was clear as can be. So yeah, we pray that you guys can meditate on those two things and you know take those scriptures for food for thought, whether you're a Christian or you're not. Um, but we just want to thank you guys again for hopping on the podcast. Um, we'll be out next week, but we should be on after that. I'm going on vacation, so but
Rest up, have fun.
yes, sir. So we pray y'all have a good summer, man. We'll be back. Hopefully, try to put some more content out when we get back or when I get back. And we just thank you guys for all your support there again. Check us out on our YouTube, Holy Huddle. That's our channel. And also be praying for us. And then likewise, if you have any prayer request or anything like that, put that in the comment section, or send us an email. And then also, if you would love, we would love to get guests to get on and be interviewed so we can talk about faith and sports. So we're reaching out to a couple people. I got one person in mind, so hopefully we can get him in here soon. Maybe we'll get Khari Willis in here, or Will.
Learn how to say his name before we get him on.
Yeah, right. He ain't going to be talk to me at all. I'm terrible at names, man. The first day of school and kids with names, I'm messing up like 10, 20 kids' names. So sorry, God, man of God. Sorry, man of God. That's what is it?
Khari, like
Khari.
Why?
Khari. Is it Wills or
Willis?
Khari Willis. So I'm sorry, man, if you see this. But we pray you guys have a good weekend, a good night, man, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.